Hi, I'm George Myers with Madison Properties. Today I'm here to tell you a little bit about how property managers should show your property. When it comes to showing property, there's a lot of things that take place before you can physically show a property. The first thing that needs to happen is the property needs to be prepared. Here's a couple things we can do when we prepare properties as property managers. The first is we want to make sure that the lighting is good. Now I know that sounds kind of odd, but we want to make sure that a lot of light bulbs aren't out and a lot of the light fixtures are working. We want to make sure the power is on and make sure that when people walk in the house and they start flipping switches, that they can automatically get into the property and see exactly what they want to see. You want to make sure the lighting is perfect in different areas. You also want to make sure this takes place so that if they see the property at night, it doesn't give them a dark feel or a dreary feel or any of that kind of stuff. We also want to look at natural light. We want to make sure the mini blinds are open. We want to make sure the curtains aren't draining a lot of the color out of the rooms and out of the floors and things like that. The next thing we want to make sure is the property is prepared and cleaned. We want to make sure there's not dust and dirt everywhere. We want to make sure that there's not personal belongings or any of those types of items laying around, or old boxes or cardboard from where the previous tenant moved. We want to make sure that the property is prepared and shown in the best light. As you always heard, first impressions are everything, and that's the case with a property. You want to make sure that as they come into the property, the yard is well maintained. When they enter into the front door is well maintained, the front porch. And what most people don't think about is they'll spend more time on the front porch than any other room. The reason being, when you walk up, if their property manager's there showing the property, or if they're using a lockbox, they'll have to take a little bit of time to get into the front door and move themselves in. Typically, after the showing, people spend time on the front porch talking, looking at the neighborhood, and looking around. So you want to make sure that the exterior and the front entryway is one of the most clean places and one of the most well-kept places out of the whole home, which is something a lot of people don't think about. Now, after you've prepared the property, you're going to move on to the marketing process. Here's where marketing comes in. First, you want to make sure the property has a good description. Your property manager should always have a good description of the property that explains all the great features of the property. Make sure there's no negatives, make sure there's no downfalls. We want to get the person there to see the property. That's the most important thing. Step 2, good pictures. Good pictures, as they say, pictures are 1,000 words. Okay? So, you want to make sure that you have really good pictures. Having good pictures will bring people in. It will have them mesmerized by how good the living room looks, how nice the kitchen is. So it brings them to the property, okay? The next is good placement. You want to make sure that your property manager or your property manager wants to make sure that they're placing the ads in the right places for the right type of clientele. Not every type of marketing is for the type of property that you're marketing with. If you're marketing to students, you're going to want to do a lot of internet advertising. You're going to want to be in some of the student areas. You may put out flyers at some of the coffee shops or some of the locales that they're at different times. If you're marketing to an older generation, you're going to want to have a lot more pictures if it's online. You're going to want to have good descriptions and a lot more detail. Younger generations may like video. They may like more information via email versus having to go search sites. So you want to make sure that you have good placement and that the property manager has thought through exactly where it needs to be and what the type of clientele they're looking for. The next thing and the final thing is good response. We want to make sure that as a property manager, we're responding in a timely fashion. You want to make sure that your property manager is responding. When they get that email, they want to respond back within 3 to 4, maybe 5 hours max. When they're getting phone calls, they want to call them back within a couple hours. Even if they can't make that call, they want to make sure that somebody in their office is getting back to these prospective tenants to make sure that they're getting all the information that they need. Okay? Those are all the important aspects that come with marketing. Okay? But here's what we're here to talk about, the ways to show property. So now that we've put all the pieces to the puzzle together, now it's time to start showing the property. So here's what happens. When it comes to showing property, property managers choose a couple different ways. The first way that they do could be checking keys out. The property manager could have it to where an individual prospective tenant comes into the property management office. They fill out some information, they give an ID for verification, and then they may put down a deposit, and at that point they're allowed to check out keys. That gives the tenant or the prospective tenant the ability to go out to the property, enter the property, see the property, and then once they're done, they're required to return the keys back to the office. There can be a lot of risk involved with this at times, but there also has some advantages to it. The next way can be in person. The property manager may have it set up to where they individually go out themselves, or a rental liaison or a customer service rep from their office or an employee from their office actually meets every prospective tenant in person at the property. The advantages of this is that they have the ability to walk the property with them, overcome objections, be able to show them different things, and then kind of take them through the property and be sure that everything is good for them, and they can answer any questions immediately. The other thing is they can also make sure the property is fully secured once they leave. Another way to show property is with lock boxes. Lock boxes come in various different types. So you've got a digital or a numeric lock box. You've also got digital lock boxes and electronic lock boxes. No matter what type of lock box you're using, what would happen is the tenant or prospective tenant or whoever's using the lockbox would walk up to it. They'd be able to put in a code, whether it's alphanumeric or numeric, or swipe a card, and it would automatically open up. It would give them access to the keys. At that point, they would be able to access the property, and whenever they were done, they would lock the property up, put the keys back in the box, and then they would be on their way. In this particular case, it's important that a property manager checks on a regular basis if the lockbox is secured, if the keys are still in the box, and all different types of things like that. The other way that they could do it would be with an electronic door lock. Electronic door locks allow you to get a one-time code and walk up to the property. What would happen is they would call into a call center, or they would call in to an office and they would be given a code. That code would be good for a specific time frame or for a one-time use. When they get to the property, they would walk up to the door, they'd punch in their code, and then press a pound key or a star key. The door would unlock, and as soon as they open it, the door would re-secure itself and the code would erase itself. Once they enter the property and they shut the door, they would no longer be able to access the property. They would all be able to get out of the property, but once they shut the door behind them, they would not be able to go back in unless they called back in to get a secondary code to go back into the property. This is the newest and most advanced technology there is out there. What happens is there's a computer chip inside that has an algorithm, and the software that's in the office or at the call center knows exactly what the codes are at all times. These can be done for short periods of time, long periods of time, 1 hour time frames, or just one-time uses. These are all the different ways that a property manager could show the property. It depends on what your company offers or whatever property manager you choose to go with offers. But we just want to let you know what's going on out there and how things work and how the process goes when showing your property. My name is George Myers. I'm with Madison Properties, and if you have any questions at all, please feel free to call us. Thanks.